Hello students, welcome to the English class. We have already completed with a line-wise explanation of the chapter Indigo written by Louis Fisher. Today in this PPT video, I am going to discuss some of the important questions and answers of the chapter. Well students, though here I am discussing only few questions and answers, I will be providing a PDF where there will be more important questions and answers of the chapter. So from there on also you can copy down many of the questions. So let's start students. The first question, why is Rajkumar Shukla described as being resolute? Well, students, we have already discussed and explained in the chapter also that Rajkumar Shukla was a very resolute person. He is described as being resolute as he went along with Gandhiji everywhere. That he went until the time Gandhi agreed to help him. He was adamant to take Gandhiji to Champaran to solve the problems faced by sharecroppers there, and so he resolutely went everywhere with Gandhiji until, impressed with his tenacity, Gandhiji agreed to go to Champaran, right? You can even write down the answer which is given in the PPT. Why do you think the servants thought Gandhiji to be another peasant at Rajendra Prasad's house? Well, Gandhiji came along with Rajkumar Shukla, who was a peasant, to Rajendra Prasad's house. He was dressed very simply, so the servants thought Gandhiji to be another peasant, and he was treated like an untouchable peasant by not being allowed to drink water from the well. Why did Gandhiji agree to a settlement of 25% refund to the farmers? When the landlords agreed to pay a refund of only 25%, they wanted to create a deadlock which would prolong the dispute. To everybody's surprise, Gandhiji accepted the offer. Now, according to him, the amount of refund was less important than the fact that the landlords had been obliged to surrender part of their money and with it part of their prestige. Okay, so that was the reason. Gandhiji's was not a loyalty to abstractions, it was a loyalty to living human beings. Why did Gandhiji continue to stay in Champaran even after indigo sharecropping disappeared? Regarding abstractions and loyalty to his towards his countrymen and towards his fellow being, that already has been discussed in the video lecture. Well, after the Champaran battle was won and the land reverted to the peasants, Gandhiji continued to stay on in this region. His loyalty was to living human being, and he realized that a lot needed to be done for the upliftment of the peasants in the villages of Champaran. Okay, so Gandhiji took the initiative and began the work of eradicating their cultural and social backwardness. Primary schools were started so that the poor peasants and their children could be educated. Gandhiji appealed to teachers, and many of his disciples, including his wife and son, volunteered for the work. Health conditions in the area were also miserable. Gandhiji got a doctor to volunteer his services for 6 months. All this goes to prove that Gandhiji's loyalty was not to abstractions, imaginations, okay? His politics was always intertwined with the practical day-to-day problem of the millions. Freedom from fear is more important than legal justice for the poor. Comment. Well, when Gandhiji learned about the conditions of the peasants of Champaran, he concluded that the peasants were so crushed and fear stricken that going to law courts was useless. The real relief would come if they were free from fear. The conclusion that Gandhiji reached is still true in every sense. The Indian poor are very much like the Champaran peasants. The peasants of Champaran were exploited by the foreign rulers, while the poor of India today are victimized by the bureaucrats, moneylenders, and corrupt politicians. Years of exploitations have destroyed all hopes and dreams of the poor. They don't try to challenge the injustice. Well, we have seen this one in the chapter Law Spring also, where the poor people, they are afraid to form any kind of corporation, isn't it? Though they fear that the oppressors will find some way to prove them guilty. This fear prevents them from taking any action or step which would help them alleviate their misery and poverty. There is no leader among them who can encourage them to fight against their tormentors. They live miserably and will continue to do so until they are free from fear itself. So, the main courage to be put to these farmers, that was what Gandhiji's main intention was, to make them free from any kind of fear. Well, students, in this PPT video, I have provided only 6 important question answers to you. In my next class, I will be providing a PDF where a few more important question and answers of the chapter will be given. Right? So, of course, this PPT video and the PDF will help you to find out the important question answers of the chapter. Of course, the question answers that are very important for the board exam. So, till then, students, study well. Thank you.